Hi Jane, I wanted to show you how this image works. These type of images actually are best if they're zoomed out and it's kind of a big landscape or something, because the problem is with these small cropped in images is that it does change based on the person's window size. So for example, if I shrink this down to like a tablet size, it's going to crop it differently than if it was super wide. Then it's cropping it in a different way. So because it has to zoom in, basically the width of the image is adjusted based on the person's screen size. So there's no way to crop it exactly one way, unless we didn't make it full screen, but that never really looks as good, and it doesn't really work as well with this layout. So that's why it's a scaling responsive image. So what I've done is I've cropped the bottom of this out a little bit to move this ladybug down. But again, it's really going to depend on the person's screen size. So if they were to shrink it down to here, it's going to move it down and show more of that picture, more of the top and bottom. But if I move it wider, it's going to cut off more of the top and the bottom. And we don't have any full control of that. We do have subtle control, and I'll show you here. In the settings, I can choose if the image is positioned from the top down, from the bottom up, from the corners, etc. But again, that is going to depend on the person's screen size. So if let's preview this again. If I were to make this small and I did it from the top down, well, it's not going to affect that as much. But if I make it really wide, you'll see now it's cropping that image up at the top. So obviously we wouldn't probably want to use that type of cropping for this particular image, but it depends on what the subject is and what you want to make sure is in the screen size. So let's go to top down and let's look at that. So that one's going to, basically the top of the image is here. It's going to crop it here, or I'm sorry, it's going to just crop it on the bottom here. So it's going to, depending on how wide this is, if I make it less wide, you can see now you can see more of it, but when I go super wide, the ladybug will be still there and the top will show, but it won't show the bottom. It's going to crop off a lot of that bottom. So that's how these images work. And again, they do work better with images that are zoomed out, like a landscape or a garden shot, or just a general flower kind of background that doesn't have a specific central thing that we want to show. This one's a little harder because of that. But I did crop it, and I think the way I cropped it, I just made it shorter automatically. So I'll show you here this image. So here's one of the, well, that's not the original, but this is one of, I was trying to make it wider, but then there's a lot of green on the right, so I don't think that really works that great either. So I made it a little less wide. That still doesn't seem to be pleasing to you on where it's cropping. So what I did is I cropped it even more, and that way I'm controlling that crop a little bit more. But again, we don't have full control over it. So it's just something to keep in mind. We can always swap out this picture with another more general picture that we don't need to have, cropped in so much. But anyway, I think this might be better. I'm actually going to check these settings again. I might do middle out. Because I think you wanted to see more of the stem. So that's where the middle of the picture is going to be. So a little bit is going to get cropped at the top and a little bit at the bottom. And, just depending on the person's screen size. If they have a smaller, like a laptop or a tablet, it's going to be a little smaller like this. And that's going to probably be the most ideal because that's closer to the proportions of the original image. If I went really wide, it's going to, crop out a lot more of the top and bottom of this. Although the ladybug still looks like it would still be in sight, so that's good. So anyway, that I just wanted to quickly show you how these work. And we don't have full control over them, but we can certainly adjust them and try to get what is really most important to us in the image. I'm not sure what screen size what your browser window size is looking like. If you ever want to take a screenshot and show me, that might help a little bit too, where I could try to make it look better for your screen size. But you have to keep in mind that a lot of people are on different devices, and some people have giant screens and some people have small screens, and we can't necessarily control how it's going to show up on their screens because we don't know, we can't make it changes automatically for every screen size, but the cropping of it doesn't change. So, I mean, it changes, I should say. So it always affects the image differently depending on how wide a person's browser window is. So let me know if you have any questions. I'm going to publish this, and if you can take a look at it, it might look better now because I did crop out some of the bottom of it so that it focuses more here and isn't getting cropped off as much. But again, I'm not sure if that's, it'd be interesting to see what you're seeing on your screen so I can try to accommodate for that. But again, that's just for your screen. So it depends on who's looking at it and how wide their window is. So, all right, let me know if you have any questions.